Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Hello and welcome to Ask Margaret from What Fresh Hell, laughing in the face of motherhood, solving your parenting dilemmas one question at a time. Today's question comes from our Facebook group, looking for recommendations on how to navigate responding to family members who demand hugs and kisses from kiddos. My husband's family is full of huggy-kissy people. When leaving after a visit, my in-laws lay in hard with their request, more of a demand for goodbye hugs and kisses from my 3-year-old, who sometimes doesn't want to. My feeling is if she doesn't want to, I don't force her. However, she gets a lot of pressure from the grandparents expecting the physical affection. I want my children to feel comfortable, but don't know how to get all the family members on board without hurt feelings. Is there hope? I like this question a lot. I think it's something that comes up more and more. And I will say I notice a little bit some of the older people in my life when I'm like, oh, go give them a hug and kiss goodbye, that sometimes it's those people who are like, if you want to. I think that this message of like, let's not force physical affection on kids is, that message is getting out there a little bit more, that people don't have to hug and kiss. But that doesn't mean that your in-laws have necessarily gotten the message here. And so I'm going to link to an article from today.com. Dr. Deborah Gilboa, a parenting expert and Today tastemaker, says physical touch should never be coercive. It is super confusing to send kids the mixed messages of body privacy and body safety and then force them to do something intimate with their bodies. And yes, I think the big picture rule here is that you should not force kids to hug and kiss people who they don't feel comfortable hugging and kissing. Now, you don't want to get into this every single time. No, see, Grandma, we are working on consent, and so we no longer believe in hugs. You're going to get a lot of eye rolls and a lot of friction. So I would say that the thing to do is to make a plan in advance. And always, we try to operate from our place of maximum generosity. I do think it's important for kids to be nice to people. A lot of kids are frightened of older people, which can be a hurtful feeling for the older person. And it's natural. Kids are frightened of things that they find different from the norm. So sometimes if you have an older relative, they might be less comfortable with physical affection for that person. And I think it's really important to, in advance, talk to your kids and say, hey, before we leave the party, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. But if you don't feel like giving hugs and getting kisses from everyone at the party, that's totally fine. That's your choice. And it's up to you to decide who you feel comfortable with. What might feel more comfortable than a hug? How about a blown kiss? How about a virtual hug? We just had a run-in with COVID. A couple of my kids had it. We did a lot of virtual hugging. They stood on the other side of the room and I would throw them a hug and they would catch it and hug themselves and they would throw one back to me. That's an option. You can go with a handshake. You can go with a high five. And so then rather than the conversation being, come give Grandma a hug, and saying, actually, we have these feelings about hugging and it's a theory and you may not have heard of it, but we really are trying to give bodily autonomy. About, you say, how about a big blown kiss or and you celebrate it. You offer a non-negotiable option to those people. And then if they start saying, no, I don't want to blow and kiss, I want to hug, you say, well, that's what my child feels comfortable with. So that's what she's going to give. And you have a plan rather than a conversation, and you offer something in its place. And then I would stand between that person and my kid and say, actually, she doesn't feel comfortable with hugging, but she would love to blow you a kiss. That's what her preference is, because it just gives you somewhere to go. I also have found this book. I don't know who posted it. It might have been someone in the Facebook group, actually. And it's called Don't Hug Doug by Carrie Finison, Finison. I'll put a link to it in our bookshop. It's called Don't Hug Doug, parentheses, he doesn't like it. I'll give you a little excerpt from it. Doug doesn't like hugs. He thinks hugs are too squeezy, too squashy, too squishy, too smushy. He doesn't like hello hugs or goodbye hugs, game-winning home run hugs, or dropped ice cream cone hugs. He definitely doesn't like birthday hugs. He'd much rather give a high five, a low five, a side five, a double five, or a spinny five. Yep, some people love hugs, other people don't. I love this book. If you're struggling with it, I would read it with your kid, and this will open up a dialogue about, how do you feel about hugs? Do you always feel in the mood to give hugs? How can we strategize together about what happens if someone tries to give you a hug and you don't want one? And that helps with the underlying thing. I believe that most children in their lifetime will receive hugs from people who they wished had not hugged them. I think that is something that in our world is realistically going to happen. And I don't think it's like, if your kid is ever in a position where they get hugged, where they didn't want to get hugged, it's a huge deal. But I do think what is a huge deal is imparting to your kids, hey, you have a choice about who touches you and how and when. And so, yeah, sometimes we get hugs and we're just really not in the mood for them. So how can we strategize about saying, hey, I'd rather blow you a kiss. I'm going to give you a virtual hug. And possibly after COVID, maybe this is a little bit easier, that we're not all quite as like huggy-kissy up in each other's faces all the time. And so plan in advance. Tell your kids it is okay not to like hugs. Strategize with them about what can go in the place of hugs. And check out the book, Don't Hug Doug, He Doesn't Like It, for a great way to start the dialogue on this with your kid. And also, listen, you can always hand out some copies to the in-laws too. I hope that helps. If you have a question for myself or Amy, you can send them to questions@whatfreshhellpodcast.com, or just come on over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/whatfreshhellcast and ask your question there, and you may hear it answered on an upcoming episode. Thanks so much for listening.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.